I failed at loom outreach until I understood this one thing. Now, I never spoke about it publicly, but this one thing was responsible for booking me booked calls every day of the week, which led to 10K per month in 60 days and 18K per month 90 days later in recurring client work. So that thing is called the Loom funnel. Now you're going to think, oh, I know what a funnel is, and you're going to click off this video. But I'm not talking about those long pages with aggressive copy. This time it's different. And I'm going to quickly go over the Loom funnel flow, which is done by never selling. You stop selling and you make sales. There's 3 parts. First part is about grabbing attention and then rewarding it and then leading it to the sale. So first step, you need to grab their attention. What is the first element your prospects are going to interact with? It is the subject line. It is for your prospects to open the email. That's it, nothing more. And guys, you have to stop with the annoying quick question that everybody uses. You got to be more creative. And here's a very simple framework that will 10x your open rates. RRR framework. And that stands for recent, relevant, and recognizable. Let me explain. For example, when doing YouTube outreach, what information could I extract that is recent, relevant, and recognizable to the prospect? Their latest video title, for example. It's relevant because either I will help them grow their YouTube channel, or maybe I was just watching content and happened to stumble upon their video. And it's recognizable because they know it's about their video. They created it. Now with that, we've passed the first step of getting 30 to 40% of them to open our email. We now need to hold their attention. And the next element they interact with after the subject line is the first line of your email. And here, I want you to become autistic with every letter that you're using. You need to ask yourself whether each word is relevant and if there's another word that has less letters. The more letters, the more info, the more calories the brain has to spend, and the brain is lazy. So each line's goal is for the prospect to read the next line. And that's something I got from direct response marketing. I'll give you a bad example so you understand. So here's an email I got in my inbox. I get a ton of them every day. And the first thing, when you look at this in 1 second, is that you can see that it's a book. And I don't have time to read that book. It's way too bulky. My brain just wants to skip it. Then they got my name wrong, right? They just scraped my email, so I can already tell it's some automated stuff. It's not even personalized, so it doesn't target me specifically. And there's nothing wrong with automated email, right? That's what we do. We just need to do it in a smart way so people don't figure out it's automated. Then what do they say? We've directly deployed. Is directly necessary? You could say we've deployed, right? Then who is we? Why should I care? What's in it for me? Scaled to 100+ companies. Where's the receipt? Talking is easy. I don't believe in anything. And then here's how. I don't want to read all of this text here. And now the only good thing about this email is that sentence. The power of 100 full-time salespeople, the cost of 1. They should have started with this, honestly. We exclusively work. You could have replaced that with only. Only is 4 characters. Exclusively is 11 characters. Almost 3 times more. And then the call to action, interested in more info? Of course, no. Is more info going to help me get more leads, make more money, pay for my next holidays with my parents, my wife and kids, help me bury my competition? I don't think so. And lastly, the signature. I don't care who you are. I don't care about your position. Your sender name is already on the top of your email. So you want to remove the fluff. Now, that's what I mean by being autistic with the use of each letter. And it's not only a matter of persuasion. It's also a matter of technical deliverability. Servers are tracking each and every word that is sent. You have to think, what is the typical structure of an email that is sent to your boss, your colleague, or your friend? And you need to replicate that. And often it will be very short, very simple, and your signature might only include your first name. So tactically ask yourself, is saying hello relevant? Not necessarily. Even incorporate cold outreach, so you can go straight to the information that will trigger their brain. And I like to start with the human's favorite word, their first name. And then you want them to read the next line. How do you do that? I like to use context with the custom information I put in the subject line, just like the YouTube video title I told you about. So it could be like, oh, I was watching your video and then I thought about blah, blah, blah. And they're going to read your text because you're being very specific with something they've done. Just like this example here, where I sent question about 10 AI tools that can make you $100 a day. And this is automated. This is scraped from my VAs doing lead gen. You can see this title comes straight from this video here. And here's the thing, people love when we talk about them. So they're going to listen. So then once you've done that quick sentence, that quick email that triggers their curiosity, your goal is to end with a simple call to action. Your goal is to end with a simple question. A very specific question that is easy to reply to. I'm talking yes or no questions. And that allows you to trigger the conversation. The goal of the call to action is only to get a reply, is not to sell. We're not selling yet. Even if it looks like you're just someone from their audience and having a genuine question about their video or whatever they posted on social media. Because once the conversation is started, it is easier to keep going. And the number one mistake that most people do with this first interaction is that they're being too salesy instead of just being curious. We're just getting to know each other. Think of this as your title and thumbnail if you were to upload a video on YouTube. So now on to the second step, the reward. So now you got a reply. This means the lead is part of the 3 to 10% people who open the email and send you a reply. And you want to leverage that as much as you can. Here's how. The best thing you can do from now on is get even more customized. And a good way to do it is to use Loom videos. They allow your prospect to spend 1 to 5 minutes with you with their full attention focused just on you and what you have to present. And they're going to see your face and start developing a relationship with you. You're not just a random name with a bunch of text on screen anymore. You're a real person who's genuinely interested. Tactically, I made a full breakdown of the Loom structure that helped me sell my services even without sales calls. The first link is in the description, but I'm going to sum it up quickly for you. There's basically 5 phases. You start with an intro that replies to that question. Who is that guy? Which is the first question that the prospect has in mind, and you need to reply to it as fast as possible. And then the personalization phase, where you're going to tell them why you're reaching out, what's the reason behind that, and you can compliment them on some factual evidence, some factual thing they've built. People always like to hear compliments, but it has to be genuine as well. You're not just here criticizing, because it's very easy to criticize. And don't forget that people have an ego. You have an ego, I have an ego. You need to go in the way of that ego. 3, authority phase. Basically, you want to present a case study, a before and after state, and you want to show an example of what that looks like. To sum it up very simply, it's like that guy is like you. He was here. He wanted to go there. This is what he had. This is what he needed. And this is how we helped him achieve the goal. That's it. 4th part, the value delivery. This is the mechanism, the tips, the process to solve one specific bottleneck. Tactically, you want to solve a problem that doesn't cost you too much money or time. So it reveals the other problems which the prospect will want to solve with you because now they trust you because you've helped them solve the first problem. And finally, and lastly, we end with the call to action phase where you lead the prospect to book a call with you or invite them to work with you or solve problem number 2 for a lower price than the main offer, for example. And here's an important thing. What you want to do in those Loom videos is you want to constantly show a custom element of that prospect. You could be hanging out on their website, their YouTube channel, whatever work they've put out on the internet, as long as it belongs to the prospects, because this way they will pay more attention because they feel like you're judging their work by having it there on screen. Now, the mistake I see people do in that phase is that people try to solve everything rather than focusing on one specific problem. The goal of this is just to create trust. You don't need to solve everything, and they haven't even paid you first. So you want to get to that point first before you start solving everything, right? And the hard truth here that you need to understand with Loom outreach and cold outreach is that it is the lowest trust client acquisition method, but it's the most direct. And so you want to build trust with each exchange. And the best way to do it is to solve someone's problems for free, ideally as cheaply and as fast as possible. And as I said, you solve problem 1, problem 2, and 3 will show up. Now on to the last part. We need to lead the prospect. The reality here is that no prospect will systematically reply to your emails, your looms, and they will forget about you. So you need to give them directions. You need to remind them of you. Tactically, you want to make your life easier. I personally use Instantly to do that because it's very useful. The scenarios that will happen, for example, scenario 1, they didn't watch your loom. You want to add them to a follow-up sequence to bump the email containing the loom video, so your work is not in vain. Scenario 2, they watched the video but didn't reply. You want to create another specific follow-up sequence to bump the email containing the loom video, and these can be very simple. It's just one-liners, one-line sentences. For example, hey, I'm just making sure that you didn't forget about this loom video where I solve XYZ. Just simple sentences. Could be very short, could be 5 words. Scenario 3, they watched the video and replied negatively. That means your loom didn't hit the mark. It didn't push the right pain points. So you have to dig more by sending another loom maybe where you will dig in the right area. Scenario 4, they watched the loom video and replied positively. In that case, and in every case, your loom needs to contain the clear next step to working with you. Could be, for example, try working with you for a shorter period at a fraction of the price of your main offer by sending a stripling and including a 100% money back guarantee, or more traditionally to go on a call to get more intel, dive deeper, and close them on that call. Now, people ask me when to lead the prospect to a call versus sending a stripling, a payment link. Listen, that depends on the situation. Calls are an efficient way to give the prospect the information that they need to trigger the decision to work with you. But some people, some prospects aren't comfortable going on calls. And so you can transfer that information through Loom videos. It just takes more back and forth, which is why a call can do it in one time. Now, the biggest mistake I see people do here is that they give up after one attempt. You know, maybe something happened in the personal lives of those prospects. Do not hesitate to remind them of you by sending follow-ups. Until they insult you, you're good to go. Now, quick heads up, I often unlist my videos, so if you want to keep access to that one, like it so it will show in your liked videos. And if you want the full structure of the Loom that got me 27K from one client without sales call, and of course a bunch of other clients, then the first link is in the description. See you in the trenches.